Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Everyone hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Good deal.
You look lonesome in that big room, however, Tyler.
I do, don't I? I feel lonesome as well.
Hey, there you go.
I look lonesome too, right? Really lonesome. Well, I don't see our chairman yet here, so we'll give it just a minute, and then if he doesn't log in, it looks like you guys have enough for a quorum. Oh, here he is. Perfect timing. Bruce, you look excited.
You talk to me?
Yeah, I said you look excited.
Oh, I just got up.
We're excited to know that we can figure out how to make this technology work.
Yes, that's true. I figured out I was muted.
You were muted, huh?
You're not now. We can hear you well.
Are we on live on YouTube?
Yeah, we're on YouTube. You're a celebrity right now. Hey, Jeff, do we have you?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. I forgot I changed computers and didn't have Zoom loaded on here, so had to download Zoom first.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't think I've got a camera on the computer, so voice will have to do.
Hey, Jeff, do we have you?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's real soft.
Right.
I forgot I changed computers and didn't have Zoom loaded on here, so had to download Zoom first.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I've got a camera on the computer, so voice will have to
Looks
do.
like Dr.
Yeah.
Hess just joined us as well.
Yeah, hi.
Do we have you?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
real soft.
you're echoing a little bit, Jeff.
I forgot I changed computers and didn't have Zoom loaded on here, so I keep getting a replay.
I can hear you fine, Jeff.
Hey, if any of you guys have YouTube pulled up, you might want to close it down, or we're going to hear a replay of everything that's being said over this meeting. So we can't have YouTube and Zoom running at the same time. So,
This is
hey,
on
Jeff, if you're, go ahead, Byron.
This is on Zoom, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
but we also broadcast it on YouTube for the public.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's get to the agenda. All right. We'll get started. We're a little late here. Did everybody have a chance to review the meeting minutes from June? And any corrections or comments?
I had nothing to correct. I'd make a motion to approve them.
Okay, we have a motion to approval. Is there a second?
Yeah, a second.
All right, all in favor of approving the meetings as published for June, say aye.
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 I only heard 2 ayes. Is that all there is?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll assume that passed. So let's move on to 2. Item 2, application for aeronautical activity. Steve Sawyer.
Okay, give me just a minute. Steve's actually joined this meeting with us, but I'm going to share my screen, and so you'll see his application for aeronautical activity. I believe this was also emailed to the board as well. We're excited to have Steve actually come in and wanting to build a new hangar out at our airport. So let me see if I can get to the right one here. Oh, it keeps pulling down a drop-down menu. So let me do this right here. Hey, Royce, this is minimized, but it's not pulling up.
I can see the application on my screen.
Oh, you got it? There we go.
Yeah, we've got it.
Never mind. Okay, perfect. So what you have before you is an application for aeronautical activity from Stephen Sawyer. And we're really excited. This is the spot that he is interested in, is the last open spot on the front line towards the south end of the airport property, right next to Dr. Hess's hangar, actually. And what he is proposing is to build a 50 by 55 hangar at that location. It's an aircraft storage hangar. And he's willing to enter into an agreement with us, a land lease agreement and everything else that needs to take place there with this application. I'm going to scroll down to the last page here. This is the proposal that Stephen has sent to us, and I'll just read it to the group. It says, we are requesting permission to install a new 50 by 55 pre-engineered metal building manufactured by Nucor Building Systems of Brigham City. This new hangar will be used to store up to 3 aircraft for daily general aviation use at the Brigham City Airport. Scheduled activities, plane storage, light aircraft upkeep, flight planning, hand tool storage for use of plane upkeep. And the installation of the hangar building will be installed by, I don't even know how Acerto LLC from Far West, Utah, with their license number on there. And that's Steve Sawyer actually is there. And Steve, do you have anything else you want to add to that, to the board?
Can't hear Steve.
Wonder if he's on mute. Let's go back up here. Steve, can you, there you're on mute right now, Steve. You'll have to unmute yourself and try to talk. We can't hear you. I hope I did a decent job, Steve, presenting what you're proposing. I guess if there's any questions that I can't answer with the board, we'll get back a hold of you, and I can call you or you can call me and we can answer those questions.
Hey, Tyler.
Yeah.
He might just have him touch the left bottom of his screen. That should allow him, it'll show a mute or unmute, and he might be able to. There he goes.
Yeah, I think he tried that once before and it wasn't working.
Well, the mute button went off. I don't know if the sound, anyway. All right, I'll be quiet. How's that sound?
No, you're fine. Do I have any questions or concerns from the advisory board?
I don't have any.
Oh, sounds good.
Oh, he says his mic doesn't work.
That mic.
Yep, just saw that.
Yeah.
This is Fred Kluss.
Hey, Fred.
I'm looking at the picture of the airport layout. It's in the master plan. Could you
Yes.
sort of give me an orientation using that, or
You
Just
come
one
you come
second.
in that far south entrance, and it's about 2 hangars over to the north.
Can you see the screen that I'm sharing right now to you guys?
I
yes?
have it.
Do you see where the arrow is right here?
Okay.
That's where the hangar is going to be built right there. That lighter colored white is just indicates that there hasn't been a building placed there yet, and that's where.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
The
I remember
big
that's an empty spot. Okay. So if when you're coming
Yep.
in the south gate, just come up to the front of the hangars and it's 2 hangars over or 1 hangar over. Okay, good.
Yep, that's where it's oriented. And Steve's done an excellent job getting with the Critical City staff. He's met with both myself, Dave Burnett, our public, and also Tracy Halliday. We've gone over all the fees associated with building here and what would be required and how it would be handled. And so I think he's excited to get to work on building this hangar for us, or for himself here at our airport.
I would make a motion to approve the hangar for Steve Sawyer as indicated on his application
All right.
at the location he is indicated.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'd second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I think that motion carries. Congratulations, Steve.
We'll get you so you can talk to us
Steve,
next time.
Steve, I'll be reaching out to you, Steve, so we can tie up any loose ends and we can start working on that land lease agreement and everything else that needs to take place.
Okay. So I have my agenda on a computer. How do I get back to it?
You want me to pull it up and share the screen a minute?
Sure. I think your shared screen is blocking my screen.
Oh, sorry about that.
All right, let's move on to item number 3, airport grading and utility planning. Jeff and Cody.
Okay, I'll introduce them before they start talking, but
Okay.
one of the things that really became apparent to us as we've seen an increase of people wanting to develop out at our airport is that we were having to spend a lot of staff time and engineer time as well with the people that are on their proposed building sites and everything else, because we didn't have all the essential survey work and grading plan and profile and future utility plan and profile completed out at the airport. So that being said, I reached out to Javiation and asked them if we could work with them and they could help us putting together this grading plan. What we want is a user-friendly site, even though we might not have the asphalt already installed and utilities already installed, but we want to have something in writing all figured out. So if somebody comes to us wanting to build a new hangar, we can tell them what the finished floor elevation of that hangar needs to be constructed at and finished at. We can tell them what will be required utility wise. What we do not want to have happen is us just to kind of scab everything together, so to speak, and we put utilities where there are going to be problems in the future. And with the airport being as flatted as it is, we want to make sure that we get everything set right. I mean, one building set at the wrong elevation can cause us really a lot of problems for long term out at the airport. So I've been working with both Jeffrey and Cody on this, and with that being said, I'll just turn the time over to them, and they can either share their screen and I'll stop sharing and kind of go through what they have.
We can't hear you, Cody.
Still can't hear you, Cody. Maybe it will be our lucky day and we'll have to listen to Jeffrey talk.
That's right. Hope not. His stash is looking good, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You there, Cody?
No.
Nope, he's not.
Okay.
Should I share the screen and kind of
We
show
can
a
have
couple of
him.
attachments?
we can have him share his screen, then I can do some talking about it. So
You want to try that, Cody?
You might need to push this F1 key. On my keyboard, it's a F1 key that turns on your sound and that.
I guess there's a tool on the bottom left corner that you can choose your tools and microphone, sound, whatever as well.
So what we've done is we've taken the basic layout from the ALP, and then we have dropped it into the existing base that's out there. And Hanson is provided with some surveys so we can start tying in everything with building corners, then the areas. So the area with the lighter gray hatch, that's the future development area that we're looking at. In those areas here, we're going to looking at two general areas. The area around the SRE building in the southern side, and the other side we'll call the northern half for the airfield development. What we're doing is, one thing we noticed the first thing after Hanson shot the survey, we've had to adapt the layout that was in the ALP to match what the existing conditions are, and that's shifted a few of the hangars and so forth around. So we're taking in, currently we're doing some grading. We have survey of this area out here, and we're running the slopes and the grades up to those buildings off the existing materials. So we're looking at a couple future hangars here for T hangars, and a couple box hangars down in this area. And it allows for a lot of development in there. So getting the utilities, and as Tyler said, in the right spot now will be developed in this area. So when people do come and they want to build, they have the finished floor elevations. This is where the utilities are. Then they can put together reach out to us for a design, or somebody else with a design to be able to, put the asphalt pavement design, and this is how it needs to be ran. So it's a great site plan and opportunity, and a great idea from Tyler to set up the area. With the future hangars and T hangars in this area, that allows for easy, quick access to generate a lot of more capacity for aircraft storage with these hangars here. And then if you have folks that are interested in just additional box hangars and so forth, you have these down here that are easy and quick to get over to the build. One thing of noteworthy, Cody, I don't know if you can hear me, if you want to bring up this is actually perfect. Right here, we've already started this design of the new hangar, and it's being constructed.
We can't see your mouse on there.
Okay.
So Cody's gonna have to move his mouse. So sorry about that, Jeffrey.
Okay, so the new hangar that was built is being built currently off taxi lane R4. That one is in place right there. So we're starting to put together this layout for that area, and just developing that area around that taxi lane and so forth. I believe that set of future T hangars there is, as well as under in the design portion with some T hangar owners, and we'll drop that into our base and tie it in with all the area there. But as you can see, this provides a lot of real estate and opportunity for the airport to start getting a game plan in place. So when people do come, we can lay this out and say, here you go, here's your finished elevation. This is what the utilities are, and it'll be ready to go. And all they have to do is take it to, home to, put together the last little design to get it to the airport for approval and so forth. It's a great opportunity for the airport to get this in place.
Cody, I'm gonna have you share this page again too once we're on to the next one, but I just wanted to tell you that before you close out of this.
And so as you're looking at this one here, we're looking at the areas that you're in the near future, but still give a lot of opportunity for growth. The area in blue, that's in the distant future, and that will be developed in the future. But the areas that we're looking at around the beacon and south of the SRE building and so forth, and west of Benny Case hangar and so forth, gives a lot of opportunity for the airport. There's a lot of hangar space there. that can go in. And this doesn't really, it provides options, but we can modify. Let's say somebody wants to come in and build a, we got a 50 by 50 there, and they want a 40 by 40 or something. There's options there that we can fluctuate as well. But it gives us a good opportunity and plan to get in place. Any thoughts or questions or?
Can you move to the south a little bit? Maybe. Oh, all right.
So what we'll show on these in the finished products, we'll show corners of buildings with the northing and easting. Then we'll put an elevation on each hanger there for finished floor. Right now, this is the geometry that we're showing. The geometry's dialed in. Now it's just starting to do the grading and getting everything to it. So it's quite a bit of work involved with it to grade that. And starting back here at the existing pavement, working back and making sure we have future accommodations for storm and so forth, that we don't set anything too low or too high where the grades are too steep. Typical taxi lane slope will, from the edge of the hangers, 0.5 to 2%, maximum 2%. So we got to be careful not to exceed that, because you can imagine somebody out there trying to push their aircraft up something with 5%. Might not happen. So
Is that 2%, Jeffrey? I always had it in my head that was 3%.
it's 2%. Shake your head, Cody, if that's correct, but I'm pretty sure that from the up to the hangers is 2%.
Okay. Any further discussion on that?
So Tyler, let me just ask, is there a basic desire in the future that based upon the size of the hangar, I mean, we give them a little bit of flexibility on where they might want to go, but are we trying to develop a certain area and route them in based on hangar size so that they would, here's your area for that size hangar, and we're going to go one right next to the other, as opposed to having them scattered piecemeal at various locations?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to encourage. Ultimately, though, there's a lot of expense that's having to be at the cost and burden of the people, the developers out on site, because we don't have all these T-hanger sites and regular box hanger sites that are plug and play, so to speak, with the asphalt and the utilities already run to these areas. So for most of the time, what we found is it makes sense that these people that are coming to us, they're installing the asphalt, they're installing the utilities to these new hangars, so they are wanting to stay as close as they can to these existing improvements.
Right.
If we had some way to fund a project out of the city's general fund to put a lot of this asphalt down and utilities down through this area, it'd be a little bit easier, and we'd probably see more people wanting to just pick and choose the spots they want. But right now they're kind of just focusing on those areas where the utilities.
They're going to
close
cluster
down.
together next to one another from a cost standpoint, but also from a aesthetic standpoint in the airport. I think it's better to have them falling right together, and for maintenance it would be better, I would think, also. Just on snow plowing and everything else, if you got everybody in a general area, it would work a lot easier, I would think.
Yep, absolutely agree with that.
Hey, Tyler, everyone, this is Cody. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
We can.
Oh, well, I called in on my cell phone I tried getting on the computer, but with all the screwing around trying to get on, I'm not sure what I missed. It sounded like Jeffrey pretty well gave everyone a rundown of what's going on. Is that correct?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
so basically, you talk about how on the ALP here we had the SRE building kind of encroached onto this taxi lane area, and that's the reason that these hangars slid to the south of where they were shown on the ALP. And we shrunk these two southern hangars down to a standard size of 189. And this one increased to 315, which is one of their standard sizes. Again, yeah, we've had Hanson out there surveying, and they were just out again last week, I believe. So we're expecting that next round of survey from them anytime, but we're waiting on this area down here to make sure that, you know, this entire area ties with the existing apron. Yeah, and as Tyler had mentioned, it's extremely flat, so getting the grading right in here at this point is pretty important. Over on the north end, as I'd mentioned, we have this new hangar here that has just been built, and this row of T hangars to the south that are currently under design. So we're working on getting a grading plan for all of the rest of this area. And we had that surveyed with the construction of taxi lane R4 here. So we did the topo for that back in 2017 or 18, I believe. And yeah, I've been in touch with Dave Burnett to make sure that we get the utility corridors laid out the way you guys want them, so it's easy moving forward for everyone.
In this section right here that we're looking at, that, you know, the new hangar right, or the new hangar that Guy's building up there is almost built. This is really the first area of future development I could see. The row of box hangars close right behind Benny K's hangars. If somebody, that's an easy lane of asphalt to pave, and then that opens up a lot of hangar space right there. And there's 7 hangars that can be built there and so forth. So this is an easy spot to develop and build out quickly. But like Byron said, you know, if you can get 3 or 4 people in there to share the expenses of paving an asphalt taxi lane, that does help with tremendously for the developer.
So back again further south where the future T hangars are.
Yep.
Is there a reason we leave the big gaps in there? Is there any reason that can't be just one long row of T hangars? And the taxiway width is really what's important, right? Rather than the configuration of the building.
Yeah, the only things that come into play a little bit is due to the size and fire protection and what's needed as far as inside the hangars. Anything over 15,000 square feet, and if you don't cluster them a certain way, then they've got to put the cost into either having sprinkled or
a firewall.
the firewall put in. And so that's a lot where some of that spacing comes into play.
Okay.
But that, Jeff, you're right. I mean, that's absolutely something that we can look at if we can potentially make them a little bit bigger. My thought is we know that those in this area that we're looking at, just to the left of the little plus sign where everything is, where it says future T hangars, where Brian to the north actually one. So anyway, right between those two sets of hangars right there, they're going to have to install some asphalt on each side of those hangars, so that can be a temporary access too for right now to link up to the existing asphalt that we already have to get those planes in and out of the apron area and onto the runway and taxiway.
And then another thing to consider with, you know, having these big long rows of T hangars is the grade going north to south. Got to have some fall to drain all this pavement, and you know, that's something we were concerned about, is having a flat finished floor for you know, 300 feet, but then having that, all that pavement still drained. So that's another consideration that we have to look at when sizing those.
Okay,
Plus, I
makes
think
sense.
if you get it too long, you get such a long distance that when you've got an individual putting his plane back in the hangar or whatever, and somebody else is taxiing down that taxiway, it becomes an obstruction. And you know, if it's too long, then they got to turn around and go back the other way to get out and stuff. I don't think you got plenty of land out there. I don't see any incentive for making these T hangars extremely long. Not to mention the grades on the floors like you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't have an argument one way or another. I'm just curious why they were drawn the way they were. And that all makes sense to me, so.
Jeffrey, this is Bruce.
Yes.
The drainage design of this, are you gonna do that?
I'm only getting every other word.
You're breaking up.
Yeah.
We can't hear you, Bruce.
I said it's unstable. I think it's talking about me. Are you going to try to utilize those that existing pressurized system that's out there to take your surface water over and tie into? Is it possible to tie into any of that collection system where it's pumped back over into the Black Slough?
There's a few inlets right in between the existing hangar right through here. There's some stormwater that's in here that we're basing off that we're trying to tie into, and so forth. I don't know where those exactly go.
Yeah, that's something that's the next big thing we're jumping into right now, Bruce, is the utilities. And our plan is to do exactly what you just asked, is to put into the lines that pump, to our north and south pump houses that pump over to the Black Slough. That's the plan. And we just got to make sure everything is sized adequately and those pumps are to be able to handle that. But that is our plan.
Okay. Well, I think it's a good proposed plan. Looks like it's well thought out.
Looks good.
And Cody's, just have to give a little bit of a shout out to him. He's taken this one on by the horns and he's doing a great job with it. One thing just coming from the ALP to this, there's been some discrepancies in just the layout of the hangars itself. We're trying to actually doing some legwork to make sure those hangars for the T hangars are actually the size that will be built, and they're not, they're the actual in place as built size, what we're finding. So he's dialing it in pretty good. So you get a very good concept.
Yeah, to give an accurate grading plan with everything, it's pretty imperative to look at all that stuff. And yeah, as Jeffrey said, just going straight from the ALP to a grading plan isn't really feasible. So yeah, it's been a little bit of work, but hope to have something good to give you guys that you can work off of for a long time.
I think you got a layout there that'll handle the airport growth for the next 25 years easily.
Yep, I do too. Any other
All right,
discussion
well,
on this item?
Good.
Okay. So Tyler, I can't see the agenda again. You want to move on to item 4?
Yeah, so the next item that was on the agenda is actually just an update on, at our last airport advisory board meeting we had 2 applications for aeronautical activity before us, and the board approved both of those applications. They were application 2 and application 3 of this year. And since that time, we've still been working quite a bit on both of those projects. The row of T hangars, row of 8 T hangars directly west of Wayne's T hangars by the main airport access gate. Paul Fesser is the one that made that application. And they have, since that time, they were hung up on a few things on the ground lease. And since that time, Grandma requested some information from us. So we provided them some of our most recent lease agreements that we've had. They just wanted to see as far as pricing for square footage and everything, if everything was in line and made sense. They were a little bit hung up on the fact that they didn't think that people would be willing to sign only a 20-year lease to build a hangar out at the airport. And my response back to them, and with the Grandma requested information that was sent on to them, showed them that every new hangar that has been built has signed that 20-year ground lease agreement, and then it's renewed in 5-year increments after that port. So I think they're working through that. They did send one other bit of information. I think they're moving forward because they sent some information to us this week requesting a 300 amp service for power, and wanted to know what the exact cost for the impact fees were for that. And so our public power director, Dave Burnett's getting back with them on that. And so I think we're going to see some movement on that one really soon. Brian Baugh, the one that had applied to do the T hangars, the 12 T hangars directly west of the SRE building, he has notified me to let me know that that has been put off for a little bit of period of time. He's having problems right now getting contractors down here to do that work. I guess the construction market and climate is just going crazy right now. We've seen that firsthand as well with city projects that we've been involved with. So he's having a really hard time lining up the contractors to do the concrete work and everything else. So that's been put off for a little bit of time. My thought is if we don't see any movement sometime between now and the next 6 months, then we'll probably look at other options. If somebody else comes to us that's interested in that spot, we'll move forward with another application.
When they get when we give approval, what's the length of time they have before they need to fulfill it, or follow through? 6 months or a year, or what?
So typically in the land lease agreement, which hasn't been signed by either one of these parties, we tell them that we need to see work out there done in 120 days or 90 days or whatever. We need to see some type of progress. So if he hasn't moved forward with anything and signed a land lease agreement by us within 6 months of that being approved, then at that point I would feel like we've been more than user friendly towards them and look towards someone else to actively pursue that spot.
So unless they're actively giving a real valid reason for the delay, you would rescind that approval and they would have to come back again for a new approval, right?
And I will reach out to them at least once a month,
right,
just to see if there's anything that has moved forward or their plans have changed at all. And if that hasn't moved forward within, I'll give them, and I'll just let them know towards the end of it that, hey, if we're approached by somebody else, then you're
right, Tyler, if there's ever a time of not having normal relations, right now with this pandemic. So, you know, if you're ever going to be lenient, now's the time you probably need to lean that direction.
Yep, I agree. Any other question on those two applications?
I have none.
I have none. All right, should we move on to maintenance updates, Tyler?
You bet. So it's been a busy summer, like always, out at the airport. We've mowed several of the areas on the airport property 4 different times. So far this year, we've had one aerial weed spraying application applied by Air Motive Services, and we've also done a ground application between the safety areas between the runway and taxiways and apron and taxiways. We've done that one time, and then our spot spraying we've also been out there doing several times. Things have kind of slowed down since we're not getting any more storms out there, so I'm thinking we might be able to get away with one more complete mowing on the property this year, but it has been a busy year maintenance-wise. We did have Cache Valley Electric in this last month, and they came and repaired the sign that was taken out by the aircraft incident here a few months ago when the plane blew a tire and extensive damage done to that plane, and took out the guide sign. That is back up and operational right now, so that's good. And with that, we're just trying to maintain things the best we can as far as the lighting and everything goes, because in 2022, when we reconstruct the runway and the whole lighting system, we're just trying to save all of our pennies now and not buy so much new instrumentation unless we absolutely have to, so we can get that updated project done in 2022. This year, we're going to be moving forward with the design, some of the design concepts on that. I know Jeffrey has reached out to those in the FAA and everything else so we can start moving forward with some of that. But in a nutshell, that's kind of everything that's transpired and been taking place out at the airport the last few months. Any questions?
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
I think you're on mute, Jeff.
Oh, you're right. I keep forgetting to do that. So
We were hoping you didn't die or something there.
this technology, you know, it gets you. All right. Any other business to be discussed or brought up? Should we, do we need a motion to adjourn? I can't remember.
I'll make a motion to.
Second.
All right. Sounds like we're good to go. Thanks everybody for your input and your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you in a month, huh?
Yep. See you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye, Tyler.
Bye.